Hey, what's up guys? David from Passion and Grit. Welcome to another week of Lack to Living, which is a place for Christians who want financial freedom. They value an intimate relationship with God and don't know how to have both. I know you're getting tired of me saying this week after week, but we're still in philosophy. The reason why is it's so important for us to take a look at some of the foundational things that we think, some of the things that are more of a knee-jerk reaction when we hear or when we say or when we read, and they cause us to think a certain way. Some of the things that are holding us back are the way that we were taught. This week, we're going to be talking about a word that's going to cause something to kick inside of you whenever I say it. Because, and you have to look at the stance which I'm trying to teach you that, I believe that Satan has done that on purpose. He has caused us to feel this way about certain things because it keeps us away from being able to be at a place where money is a weapon for us to use instead of a weapon that's used against us. And he has succeeded very well in that in the church, and we can see it in the numbers. And so whenever I talk about what I'm about to talk about, if you don't pay attention through it and see the examples that I use, you're going to get turned off. And if that's what you do, that is totally up to you. But I'm going to challenge you to listen through, because if you understand it from the perspective that God talks about it, I believe it's going to make a massive difference in your life. One simple word. He has done so good at it that whenever I say this, you're going to feel something twist. Prosperity. See that? We hear prosperity gospel. We hear prosperity message. And we've been taught that that is a bad thing. It's something to stay away from. Now, making it very clear again, lack to living is not about riches. We are not talking about becoming rich. I'm not talking about the prosperity people that do it wrong and they try to fatten their own wallets or try to tell you you're going to be rich if you just follow God. Neither one of those. Neither one of those. I firmly believe that God is a loving God, and if we don't educate ourselves to a place where we can understand money, He's not going to give it to us because He doesn't want to ruin our lives. And you've seen it time and time again when people come into large sums of money and they don't know how to handle it, it ruins their life, and God is too loving of a God to do that to us. So again, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is our philosophies. When you say the word prosperity, when you say prosperity message or prosperity preacher or prosperity gospel, something inside of us goes, there's something wrong with that person. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to challenge us on that, because the simple meaning of prosperity is success. It's winning in it. And so God actually used it multiple times in the Bible. So again, we're not talking about rich. I'm not pulling off scriptures. We're going to talk about being rich and trying to prove the point that prosperity people are good. Not saying any of that. What I'm saying is our philosophy when we hear a word is so off that we don't even understand the word, and to our own demise, we don't go and look these things up. We don't take the time to go look into them. And because I'm very passionate about this, because I was sold so many lies throughout my life about how God feels about certain subjects. And yet whenever we dive into the scriptures, it says nothing of the like. What we were taught was so far off. I now don't take anybody, even the most trusted, wise preachers. If they say something, I want to go look it up if I want it to be rooted and seated inside of my heart. So let's take a look at a couple scriptures. Deuteronomy 29:9, this is King James Version. All of these are going to be, if anybody cares. Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all you do, that we may succeed in all we do. Job 36:11, if they obey and serve Him, they shall spend their days in prosperity and their years in pleasure. I thought that was a bad thing, right? I thought it was a bad thing for us to have pleasure. I thought the only way we can be good Christians is if we are grinding and if we are hurting and tore down and pressed down. And there are times that we go through that, usually because we're stubborn. But God is a good God. And He wants us to win because He's a God who wins. Psalms 35:27. Let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause. I have such horrible writing. Yet let them say continually, let the Lord be magnified, which has pleasure in the prosperity of His servant. He has pleasure in His servant succeeding. Psalms 122:7. Peace be with thy walls and prosperity within thy palaces. The reason I'm bringing those out is just to say we need to rethink the way we look at certain things, especially when it comes to money. Since we as a whole, especially in this country of America, are suffering so bad because of a lack of financial literacy in a secular stance, much less in a spiritual stance of understanding the God that we serve does not want us to live in lack. He has not called us to live in lack. He will push us to live in lack for two reasons. One, because we're viewing money too importantly, or two, because we lack the knowledge to have money in a safe and healthy manner. Other than that, we don't serve a God that wants us to live in lack. We've been sold such a heavy lie that we hear one single word like prosperity, and it's, there's something wrong with that. That's not the Spirit of God talking. Because the Spirit of God talking that was written down in the Bible says that He has pleasure in our prosperity. So again, you don't have to believe me. That's not what I'm not trying to force you to believe me. What I'm asking you to do is to sit down and think about this philosophy. See if maybe you feel like the philosophy that you've been taught might be wrong. If maybe there's some truth to this idea that if we increase our knowledge when it comes to money, that we can move from a place of lack and get to a place of living, even living in enough abundance to be able to give it away and make a difference in the world and the people that are around us. That is the entire purpose of Lack to Living, is to give you a sword that you can wield, that turns into a weapon. And then you can also teach somebody else to wield that sword. And instead of spreading this horrible sickness we have of lack in the church, that we start to spread a healthy financial climate in the church and in God's kingdom on this earth, so that we can wield these weapons and we can use them to fight this war and we can use them to make a difference. Love you guys.
The feeling of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. A choice to sit in it or to get better. The most important thing that you have to realize is you've got to realize in your heart that you're worth it.